So we are live. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Microsoft Minds Leadership and AI Emotion. And we're not sitting down and talking about all the new things because, yes, there are a lot of new things there. But we're going to talk about leadership itself and everything that is changing right there. And today I'm not alone. I'm joined by someone who is a really good friend and I think truly lives and breathes the community. It's Heather Newman or Heather Cook. Sorry, Heather.
That's
Heather
okay.
builds
I've been
global
both.
community. Oh yes. Oh my. Getting hot in here.
That's all good.
But
All good.
Heather.
Yes.
Heather builds global community programs for Microsoft 365. Leads the Microsoft global community. And works with so many like internal and external networks to help people like adopt, trust, and thrive new technology. Right? You
Yeah.
are like the community
Wow.
there, and yeah, the thing is, everything changing so fast, extremely now with AI.
Yep.
Where do we need to start? What is the best way of the community? That's where we are going to talk about. And you really remind us all the time that leadership is about put people first, and let people be the first there when the technology comes second and goes really, really fast. But how can we let the people be the first in all these kind of things that happening with AI? So thank you for joining,
Yeah.
Heather.
Of course. It's so wonderful to be with you as always. It's been a bit, so it's just great to see you and all the things that you're doing online as
Oh,
well. So yeah, no,
thank
so
you.
proud. Yeah. I'd be like,
Thank you so
yeah,
much.
no, absolutely. So yeah, no, thank you for the time and the platform and all of that. It's super cool what you're doing. And yeah, I mean, I work on a team that builds global community programs, and AI obviously is changing everything. And so, keeping people at the center is super important. And, I always start with the principle of that community isn't a feature. Community is
Oh,
really, yeah, right. It's a feeling. It's trust built through transparency, through shared experience, and time too. We didn't just jump into the AI community. That this has been, for me next year,
oh,
it'll be
yeah.
25 years for
Crazy,
me
right?
being
Yeah.
around SharePoint, which is also 25 years old, right?
Yeah.
So I think while we watch tech race ahead, it's really continuing to focus on creating spaces where people feel heard and seen and safe to explore and to learn with each other with, no stupid questions. And, the playing field has been leveled with AI in a way too, because we're all like, okay, what's happening now? So it's sort of like buckle in and get the popcorn and let's do this together, you know?
Yeah, it's true. You wake up and something new is already there, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
True.
you're like, "Oh, okay." So, I mean, I think really it's kind of it's not really about slowing down technology because we can't do that, but I think it's about really speeding up our belonging to this thing. We belong to
Mm.
this. We'd always talk about the best community in tech, right? We all belong to this thing. We all belong to this revolution that is happening right now. We are in the thick of it. And so
Mm.
again, I think let's hang on and learn together, you know?
True. And Heather, when you think about like the global community program that you
Mhm.
like you are running, right?
Yeah.
What is that for you when you think about everything is changing so fast? Like, how do you keep people in that center, and how do
Mm.
you think about that from your perspective?
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to have a lot of humility and a lot of patience, to be honest, too, because we all run the gamut of skill and what's going on behind our smiling eyes. Like everybody's got something going on personally that they're dealing with. The world's got all kinds of things going on always, right? So I think with the global programs and with scale programs, which is what I have my fingers in, is that,
Mm.
I think you can't boil the ocean. You have to concentrate sometimes on just one thing and getting that one thing done, that's important. Just as an example, like assigning badges to people. when they've done something great, or our board members making sure they get those things. You would think that that's super easy, and it is in a way, but you got to get the names, you got to get the email right, you got to get the list together, you got to put this thing out here, you got to do, and so there's processes, I guess, that you need to work on when you're working at scale. And so to me, if you take the time to create the process and the playbooks, then you can actually then make into an agent, right? If we'll get into the AI section of it, but it's somebody. Well, I gotta think about who said this out loud the other day. It was yesterday. Gosh, but they said to me, "Little did we know, by really concentrating on governance in software, in SharePoint, and other things, we were prepping for Copilot." And I thought that was really great, because it's like, yeah, it's like if your processes are a mess, if you don't know where things are, if you can't get to it, or if there's like blockers, and that's with anything. I mean, that's as simple as as giving out a badge, all the way up to like the most sort of major process that you could have of a workflow that does something in your company, right? So maybe some of those good habits are really what help you scale. So
True.
yeah.
There's one thing, Heather, I really need to think about, that we did a session together with ESPC like
Yeah.
2 years ago, I think. And
Yeah.
one of the things that happened there was, like, the day before, things changed in our
Yes.
presentation that we did. And the
Yeah.
whole night we were prepping or finding
Mhm.
out what are the new things and what kind of
Yep.
questions do we get in the audience, and
Mhm.
what is that new thing, and really want to finding out all the things right there. I think
Yep.
that's like the beginning of like Copilot or Copilot Studio at that time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
So
the, power of virtual agents,
yes.
and everybody was like, "What's that cute little bot builder?" Like,
Yeah.
literally, people kinda were like that about it, and now it's like, "Oh, I'm the bot builder," like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's becoming
That
standard.
was one of the fun things that I really needed to share. But if you see like how fast things going for you as well, because you're a
Mhm.
speaker, you are someone in the
Yep.
community is really active, and
Yeah.
sometimes you hear new things like few hours before, and then you need to
Mhm.
tell about it. It's
Yeah.
amazing how you're doing that. So I want to give you some compliments
Oh,
there as well.
thank you, thank you. It's yeah, I'm building a keynote for a show coming up in Atlanta. That's where I'm flying. And, I'm working on a demo tenant because I want to show some things. And, it's sort of like I'm like, okay, am I showing the right stuff? Is it up? And like, and also, I don't ever want to, like, show anything that's not out yet either. So,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like,
yeah. I
yeah,
think as
so that's
well.
why I can't just show you my computer, because I have, some of the dog food things on there. But yeah, it's that experience with you is so awesome. It was like, I love partnering with people, and especially folks in the community, for, and, big stages too. I think that's important. Those big keynote
Mm,
stages are a
thank
little
you so much
scary.
for that.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, it was my pleasure, and it was fun because that came out of us meeting the year before,
Yes.
and hanging out in Copenhagen. And then when it came into Amsterdam, where you are, it was just, I was like a no-brainer. I was like, yeah, we should do this. And yeah, and it was that night before. We were like, okay, things changed. Let's just make sure we've got the narrative right. And that's why you have notes, like,
Yeah.
I'm a theater person. We rehearse. You just don't, I mean, I can
I
walk
was
on
shaking.
stage. I know, but, I think it is, here's the other thing. To me, community is really the antidote to fear.
Mm,
It's where we test ideas, it's where we ask the dumb, what we think questions, and we realize we're not alone with each other. So I think the community doesn't just teach us skills, but it amplifies the voice, right? It gives us all agency, in
mm,
this massive time of change. So yeah,
true.
yeah.
Hey, when you're thinking about like
Mhm.
adopting AI, I think you're speaking with a lot of people around it as well
Mhm.
in the
Yeah.
community, but probably as well with some customers. What are
Mhm.
the biggest barriers there from thinking about adopting AI? What do you see there?
I think that people are treating it like it's so much, that's such a different thing than any other software that we've ever rolled out. And frankly, yeah, AI has its nuance, of course, and Copilot, but again, it's sort of end user adoption campaigns or change management. And if you were in those roles, an adoption specialist, good, yay,
Yeah.
you're my people. Those are the workshops I used to, share when I was, an MVP and running around the world and talking and stuff. But I really like end user adoption, the 10 steps that I've gone through for years, it's the same. You still have to figure out, what the value is that it brings to your company. Do you have executive buy-in? Putting use cases together, small tiger team. Yeah, like it's not something that you're like, okay, now what do we have to do because it's Copilot and AI? We have to do this whole new process that we don't even understand because it's AI. No, run the script, run the good end user adoption, tried and true methodologies, and you can bring them into your company. So I think that's one. Secondarily is something, I touched on before is that, then there's obviously a difference between ChatGPT and Claude and Copilot and all of that, especially when we're talking about an enterprise level system like Copilot that is it's in where you work, right? That's the thing about Copilot. It's right in there. It's in your programs. It's in the software you're using. It's in the middle of Word. When you're typing, you can use it. But I do think there is that, if you're kind of a mess, if your software closet's kind of messy, it's harder to implement, right? And so sometimes people are kind of like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to clean that up, and that can be a barrier. And so I think that but that's part of like good hygiene, and also making sure that you're running on trust, and that you're not giving people access to things that you don't want them to have access to. So it's a bit of due diligence and making sure that your environments are got good grounding documents and ways to get to things, and your permissions are set up correctly. It's all the stuff that's in the Copilot implementation guidelines that are on adoption.microsoft.com, frankly. So,
and you can ask Copilot now as well, right?
Totally, yeah. You're like, hey, what do I need to do here? Yeah, absolutely, yes. And you have a new buddy. You have a new Copilot. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what do you think when you think about like all the communities that we have and how important that is for people to scale up from the community and speak up? How do you think about that? Because like there are a lot of people, not only Microsoft people, I think that's always inspiring, but you have as
Sure.
well like MVPs or people who start with speaking. How important is that?
Yeah, I think it's hugely important. I think there is a wonderful sense of pride and connection that you get when you share things. I was saying, was it maybe yesterday? I had a lot of big talks yesterday. It was great. But and then I'm having a big talk with you. That I don't always. I get up out of bed every morning because I know that what I do affects people's lives every day. I don't know how many, I don't know who all the time, but I do know that it does. And because I get little pockets of it, or somebody will tell me something, or an article, or a curler report, or whatever. Like people will,
Yeah,
it's wonder, it's
amazing. Yeah.
yeah. And the thing is that I think when people are like, oh, nobody everybody's going to read my stuff. I'm going to do it. No, I'm not going to get a million likes. And yeah, I've never gotten a million likes. But the thing is that that's not why you do this stuff. You do it for yourself. Like most things, it's about you. It's like you're preaching to your own choir. Sometimes you're reinforcing your own behavior. But putting things out, sharing things makes us feel good. And then sometimes you get that, that really helped me. And then you're like, wow, cool. And then you want to do it
I
again.
helped
And you want to
someone.
do it
Yeah.
again. So it's very symbiotic, I think, is that putting things out into the world. And I think it's an energy thing too, like big day today about energy as well. So everybody should be meditating on what you want and manifesting the goodness. So anyway, if you believe in that stuff, the Lion's portal is open. Anyway, that's my woo-woo side. But I do think the community piece of it is just it's so important, and it includes some vulnerability as well, of putting yourself out there. It's scary to put yourself out there. It's scary to write a blog. Scary to do it, but do it. It's so great, and that one person that's like, well, I'm critics, whatever.
You always have that. Yeah.
You always have that, you know what I mean? But just keep doing it. It's super important. And that's what grows us and makes us less afraid, to take on new challenges.
And for people who go into a community, so for the first time, for example, what do you think
Yeah.
about that for scaling up? Is it
Mhm.
something that everyone needs to do, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so, and the thing is people, there's different community platforms for different things. There's adoption.microsoft.com for all the end user stuff. There's learn.microsoft.com. There's a pattern support.microsoft.com, product name.microsoft.com. So, but thinking about learn and different pathways, and you're going to find the community in so many places, and you're going to get to it. It's not just one portal. You don't just knock on the community one door to go in, right? There's many, many doors. It's through a tweet that or a Blue Sky or whatever that takes you into a certain community or a blog or the YouTube channel or whatever, right? So, yeah, I think, being part of the community, if you use Microsoft software, if you use, software in general, you're part of this community, this ecosystem, because you're using and learning and all of that. People are like, well, I'm a customer. I don't belong to the community. Well, that's fine, but you can be part of it. You can, if you're looking at a piece of content or reading something, you're part of the community. You can be a lurker and be part of the community but I think people have this thing that's like, I'm this, I'm that, and that
We are
pigeonhole.
this.
Yeah, it's like, come join the fun. Yeah, absolutely.
Really nice.
And there's a lot of the opportunity right now is huge. The opportunity to make sure that you're AI skilled, and that you understand what's going on and with the technology. And yeah, it's going to change. It's going to flip. It's going to do all kinds of things. But basics, understanding, writing a good prompt, what that is, what that feels like. And let's just practice. You just need to practice.
Or get inspired by someone.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So when we're thinking about like leaders, what do they need to be more like, or not more, or what do they need to invest in when you think about AI readiness? What is the thing, what they need to do to be in the forefront on that?
Yeah, I think being a good leader most of the time is about listening, to be honest, and bringing clarity to a situation, to a project, all of that, understanding, where you're going, what charters are, and all of that. So I think and people say investing in people. Well, what does that mean? In the week, put an hour or two in for learning, in people's calendars, make it a priority so that, you say,
on AI, you say, or just especially AI?
Yeah, especially in AI, because it is in where we work right now, but then people forget to use it, or they don't remember that it's there to help them, or they don't start there. So we've been doing a lot around, and we had to do this shift inside of Microsoft as well, is that, where do you start your day? And typically I would, in the way back, it was Outlook. In the not so, recent future, or sorry, past, it was Teams, and now when I open my computer, I start an M365 Copilot. So that's a shift. And that is something that I think as a team or a leader, you can say, hey, let's try this. Let's make sure for the next, 2 weeks, you start your day that way, and it's really simple and small, but it does make a big difference. That's a whole different mindset of where you start your day. And then you start asking Copilot questions, or you already have things set up so that Copilot is running for you when you get up in the morning, or you have your agents ready for you to do XYZ, right? So I think.
But is this something that you see at Microsoft that is happening, that it helps you like put a leader in front and saying, okay, this is what we see, this is where it's going, this is how you can start your day?
Yeah. And I think it's like those end user adoption agreements. It's like it has to come up from top down and bottom up, to kind of meet in the middle. And so, yeah, I think with leadership, having them really understand that you have to fund time to learn, or carve out time to learn and experiment, and really also make capacity for cross-functional connections with people. I think that's really important too. Just getting ready isn't some checkbox. It's a true culture shift. And I think just saying, here's M365 Copilot, figure it out, is not enough. I mean, you
Not the
can,
way.
but yeah, I think actually encouraging people to take trainings, to take, to eat our own, dog food, to go and like go through adoption.microsoft.com, look at the Copilot scenario library and all of those things, and really get in there and sort of figure it out for your team. The other push for us is, we're expected to. I made up a new word. I think I'm calling it agentifying. To make things agentic. What in my job is repetitive stuff that I could have an agent do. So
Header agents,
yes,
all kind of
exactly.
header.
Yeah, and hackathons too. I think twice a year we hold internal hackathons. I think those are really important, and I think they're more important than ever. And that could be just as simple as building your first agent or using the new the SharePoint FAQ web part. That thing is a life changer. Oh my goodness, how many FAQs have you written? I've written so many for events, and they're always kind of the same. But having an agent like go,
Just
here's all the
doing that.
questions and the answers, it just saves so much time.
So
So
easy and so
yeah,
much. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
So we also live like in a world now with a lot of AI generated content. So
Yes.
how does like authentic leadership and communication look like for you? How do you look at
Mm,
this?
yeah. Yeah. Because I think you can tell when somebody has written, let AI write their memo or their thing out into the world. So I
You
think that
are really good in storytelling, so I
uh,
like you have the
yeah.
sales vices, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, you can tell it sounds like a real person. I think there's a vulnerability that is there that is included that I think I don't necessarily have all the answers, but here's what I'm learning kind of thing. So I think, the human voice is the differentiator. And I think, I think authentic leaders aren't trying to out AI the AI. I think they're leaning in, hopefully, to what they offer in with AI enhanced. Like empathy, clarity, and earned trust. Those three things from a leader, those are so important. And if you don't have those, it's like people aren't so excited to do their jobs. Like for myself, uh, with AI now, I considered myself fast. I can write really fast. I've always prided myself on being able to like bang out copy, when it's needed. Because there's a lot of writing that's involved in community, actually. I'm always writing posts about events. I'm writing little stories about people. We're writing what I call blurbs, for social media, or banging out, a small blog about a community aspect or something. So, the writing skills have always been very important, even in event production. Being able to do marketing communications or event communications, writing a speaker email, writing a note to go out to our leadership about what's going on, making sure you're getting amplification out for certain things. So writing has been a very important skill. And I've ghost written for a lot of people over the years too, where I do the first draft, right, and then they and so again, sort of being a co-pilot of a co-pilot from days of old. But today I use it to make me faster, basically, because it's getting to know my style too, and what I like to write. And so I think I will ask it to do things, and then I go in and I heatherize it, like I zhuzh it, so it's my voice and my examples and all of that. And and then if you're in Chat GTP, you take out the dashes, because that's the telltale sign, right, that you've written something today. But I think it will get harder and harder to maybe disseminate what is and what isn't AI. And I think you just have to have a mindset of understanding that. I mean, all of these large language models were trained on us and our words, right? So it does have the human element. I just don't think it's ever going to replace the human elements of those empathy, that clarity, and that trust. I
So
don't
it's
think.
your first like
Yeah.
90% or 85% you can put in, and then you
Yep.
make it
Yeah.
header
Yep. Yep. Yep.
headerized.
Yeah. Yeah. The Heather sprinkles sparkle or whatever on it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Nice. I have
Absolutely.
one
Yeah.
question still, and that's what I wrote. I read one of the reports from Microsoft like this week or
Mhm.
last week, and there
Yeah.
was in that community will be like really big thing in the future because like
Mhm.
everything is changing so fast for AI.
Yeah.
So I think we both
Yeah.
believe that as well, and we've seen that
Mhm.
as well. But
Yeah.
as well, it's going to change in a lot of people the way of working if
Mhm.
and as well like salary part so that people going to be paid in a way of that
Mhm.
how much they like being visible or making impact or sharing in their
Mm.
organization how
Right.
they use
Sure. Mhm.
AI. Is that something that you believe in as well that will change in how organizations going to see it because the importance is there so much
Mhm.
that we share
Yeah.
more and more.
Yeah, I think that, you know, I impact and value have not changed in their impact and value, if you will, those words, it like what you bring to the table, the impact you make and the value you bring in your job, those things have always been important. I think that any major shift, when we shifted into the cloud, now this shift, even mobile, like I think it's proficiency in
Mhm,
said new thing, it's important. It just is. Like, I know friends that, like, frankly, who were doing, video production and some other things like that, if you were still doing it by hand, that's wonderful. Even film editing or, screen printing, some of those things, like the people that went and learned how to do that quickly, in all of these programs, learned Adobe, learned that kind of stuff, or,
mhm,
other programs, they got to jump on other people,
mhm.
and so it's like I think that it is important that we do move quickly, to think about how these things will affect our lives. Do I think that there will be an emphasis on AI skilled or AI first jobs and people with that mindset? I do.
Mhm.
It absolutely will, because that's how things evolve, and there's a premium put on people who invest in themselves and invest in the knowledge and invest in training so that they can be the best they can be and bring the most impact and value at work. So
Mhm.
do I think it will shift, and will salaries shift, and will job titles? Yeah, it will,
Chief
Um,
co-pilots.
yeah, yeah. I was reading something from my keynote that there was a study that just came out by PricewaterhouseCooper, about AI jobs and skilling and such, and it was talking a lot about, you should maybe reference it in here. I'll get you the link. It's a really good study, but it was talking about, AI jobs, that to be AI skilled, and then also the jobs that most likely will be affected. And I think those are things that are good to pay attention to.
Mhm.
I think AI is gonna shift and change everything, but it is good to pay attention to the things that we think and know already that will be
Yeah.
affected by it. And you take a look at that and you figure out, what's my pivot. You
Where
know?
do I stand? Yeah. What
Yeah,
is my
yeah,
next thing and how can
yeah,
I involve in that? Yeah.
yeah, for
Great.
sure.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much for all your lovely insights.
yeah.
Always good to talk to you with
Aw,
you.
you're welcome.
Uh,
Thank you. Yeah,
and yeah, let's share and let's build a community and keep going. Good luck on your next keynote, I think, or your
yeah,
next
yep,
event that is
yep.
organized there.
Atlanta, and I'll see
And
you soon at another event. I think we get to see each other, so
of
in
course,
person.
we're going to
Yeah,
see each other.
in real
But
life.
in real, I hope so, really
Yeah,
soon. I
yeah.
hope so. Then
You know,
I'm going to give you a really big hug because
yeah, I know, I know.
I
I think
missed you.
I know, I miss you too. I think, that's one more thing, Femke, I think you and I both, but there all of this stuff through the screens and everything, it's awesome. It's awesome for video like this and podcasts and all of that stuff. But I think that what we're gonna see coming up is the local, regional, community connection be stronger and more important than ever. Knowing
Yes,
your neighbors, knowing the person that makes the coffee over there, knowing the chamber of commerce, knowing your librarians, knowing your teachers, knowing the people in your community. I think coming out of COVID and all the things that are happening in the world right now, that is so important. Especially when we need each other for when there's, I don't know, like things that happen in the world with weather or whatever, like all the things that knowing your people and being able to talk to each other. You know, we had the LA wildfires in January, and it was very scary and horrible. So many people lost their homes, and it really cemented to me the importance of knowing your people, understanding your surroundings, and really
Helping
leaning,
each other.
yeah, and helping each other and really being a community. And that's, to me, it's always been important, but I think it's so important now with all the shifts that are happening in the world.
So many
yeah,
things.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you
So
so much
you're
for your
welcome.
perspective, and
Yeah,
see you soon.
yeah. Yay. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye bye.
All right. Bye.